Heidi ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast, episode 382. This is the official Detroit Lions podcast for Reddit. I am Hammerham, your host. Is my good friend and co-host of the Inside Joke, the man with the cans. Sam, man, how you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm good. Still having webcam problems, but I don't know if that's a problem for anybody else.
No,
I don't. You can still see my face and more.
The big reveal. Oh man, it's why we keep him in town as our quarterback, right? We'll talk about today's game. We're gonna do a little bit of roundtable discussion between ourselves, and we're gonna take a COVID test. No, we'll be fine. And we'll take your calls. We got that going on. A whole lot more. We got a great show lined up. Andy, you ready to go, brother?
Let's do it.
Let's kick this off and break it down.
Hammerhead! Oh, God, sorry. Let's see. Let's get right into it. Boy, this was an interesting game.
This
is a woof, man. A woof.
A real fun game for preseason, but in the middle of the schedule. Neat. Very neat.
I do want to remind you though.
Because the Lions won a game, bitch.
And
ride it.
My voice is still cracking from last Sunday. It's still not fully healed. I screamed hard. It wasn't like that today though. The end of that first half, just before the end, you could feel, as a Lions fan, a longtime Lions fan, you could feel it start to slip. You knew what that turn of that smell was when, it was 14-10. We had a chance to take it to 17-10 or 17-14. And then, no, that's not what happened at all, was it?
No, I mean, I don't know. I had zero expectations of this game coming in with the amount of COVID stuff, with the flu stuff, with just the guys that were out. We're already a massively depleted team. And then we went down to half strength from our quarter strength. It was fun when it was kind of close for a little bit there. You thought, well, I don't know, maybe something weird will happen. But as per usual, it's hard to win when your talent is that deficient. Like you saw it on the defensive side. I think guys were in the proper places. I think guys were, doing things correctly for the most part, but they're just not talented enough. Missing tackles, fumbling, just small things that, NFL starters and NFL players generally don't have too many issues with.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything more on Jerry yet. I know he was out with that shot on the knee. Thanks, Will Harris. Can't tackle the other team, but boy, it's the Louis Delmas method here. Unguided missile. So I'm hoping Jerry's okay. I'm with you, Terry. That's a real bum deal. Hopefully we get some good news about him. The Broncos horse sound effect going off through the game is annoying. Yeah, and it's like the horn in Minnesota.
Yep.
I do miss the Lions roar though at Ford Field. I don't know why they got rid of that after a good play. I love the roar.
Well, they had to put it into the hands of the announcer guy. That's a Detroit Lions 2-yard gain.
Yeah, just as exciting. Just as exciting. Boy, it gets me riveted. Okay, so yeah, that was tough. How many guys did we call up from the practice squad? Was it 6, 7?
7.
Yeah.
7, I believe. Which is unbelievable.
Incredible.
That's crazy. This is like 1970 We Are Marshall.
Yeah.
Or whatever year that was.
That's a rough reference, but yeah, for sure. Man, I mean, look, you're down so many guys already. It's just, and I'm surprised, I'm surprised with all the COVIDs and the sicks and everything else. The NFL didn't say, no, we're calling it. And I think that there was a sense of, we feel pretty bad for these guys, both on the Demaryius Thomas thing and the Lions, just Dan Campbell, the whole thing the team's going through. They didn't want to put, because none of them would have gotten checks if they would have made it a COVID call. Neither team would have got paid. And so that's, that's one thing. But with Demaryius Thomas, they wanted to do the whole thing, and that was nice. That was nice that they did that.
It was nice,
but
Yeah, if you're a Broncos fan, like this was a perfect game for something like this because, like you got the interception where the player got to put the ball onto the logo on the field. It was an easy game for your heart because, it was pretty obvious what was going to happen. For Lions fans, not so much, but,
it was nice at the beginning of the game when they did the 10-man formation.
Yep, that was cool too.
And then we declined the penalty. That was a pretty class act. That's where the class pretty much ended. It was garbage time, and minute 15 in the first quarter started. God. All right, let's see. Tony Calderon, next man up. Illness and injuries, no excuse. I mean, at this point where the Lions are, there's a definite excuse. I mean, let's see. They don't have Quintez Cephas. They didn't have a good round out of wide receivers anyway, but they don't have Cephas. They don't have.
Hawk was missing. Swift is missing. Like you could argue that they were missing their top 7 players everywhere, and then it doesn't help when you're starting a guy off the practice squad that's starting outside corner who's normally a nickel. There's just a lot of, I don't think this team was probably going to win anyway, but it makes it harder to watch. When you're watching these guys, when you're watching, like guys that should only see preseason snaps, getting snaps.
If they had won last week, I think there'd be a lot more rage right now. You know what I mean?
Full wheels off.
Yeah.
If they didn't win last week.
Yeah, for real. Craig Reynolds was a nice surprise today. I'll tell you this much. Yes, I knew he was going to play pretty early. 2 days ago, something like that. They're really, really high on him. They're really, really high on Craig Reynolds. And it was a great example of what's happened with the team throughout the year, being able to get those young guys up and give them a chance to play. That's how they found Jerry. Craig Reynolds is a good addition to this team. I mean, look, I'm not going to talk about the trade and Swift stuff just yet, but
I mean, honestly, I tweeted about it earlier in the game, but we're finally starting to see a team that the scheme and the coaching has a bigger impact than the player potentially. Mm-hmm. Like we've been seeing it all year, but we really saw it today where, Craig Reynolds looked really good out there. Because the blocking scheme and the running scheme just is a good scheme. It just works. It just, kind of does its thing. And obviously you'll get better results with better players. And Craig Reynolds, given the opportunities he had, he made good plays and he did what he was supposed to do.
Didn't fumble.
Didn't fumble twice, which is always good. But we've been seeing that with the defense all year, where we've been playing, third, fourth, fifth string guys all year. And the defense has constantly looked okay or serviceable or downright good sometimes. Yeah. I think we're finally getting to that point. I don't know the last time I felt this way. Maybe 2014's defense with Terrell Austin.
Wow.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. That's something to look forward to, that once this team gets a little bit more talent on it, maybe gets healthy, that we can be a little bit more exciting and see some more stuff.
Yeah. I think we're definitely seeing some good work, some good coaching happening here. And I really, the Craig Reynolds thing is a great example. I feel like we've got the good players who can execute the scheme. You see the scheme as we talked about when Dan Campbell kind of took over after the bye week, and Ben Johnson and he were working together with a couple of the other guys to kind of put things together. You've seen a change. You've seen the scheme where it really does start to fit these guys. Goff, a couple overthrows today, right? This is one where schematically they've started to open it up a little bit, and he didn't execute today.
No, Goff, it's that same thing where Goff will have that one good game. Like against Minnesota, he had a fairly good game. Like week 2, he had a pretty good game. And it kind of makes you wonder. It makes you like, well, what is Goff's deal? Blah, blah, blah. And then he has games like today where he's just missing open guys. His indecision is killer. Just watching him stare guys down, watching him just make a bad choice when he doesn't have to, rushing things or being really slow on some things. it's just wonky. I don't know what we have in Goff. It's hard to say. I think it's pretty clear that he's not the answer at this point, but the coaching staff still sees something in him, and I don't know. It's games like this are hard to watch.
Yeah. On Jerry Jacobs, Campbell said the Lions will know tomorrow, but it doesn't look good. Thank you, Justin Rogers, for that tweet. That sucks. Yeah, no, that was rough. Tell you what, let's open up the phones really quick. 248-782-8384. 248-782-8384. Give us a call. We'll get you on, or you can use Detroit Lions podcast, all one word, and that'll connect via Skype. I want to talk a little bit about something we've talked about prior. The quarterback. Like, what do you do first? Build the team and get your quarterback, or get your quarterback and then build the team? And, you were more of get the guy and then build the team. And I feel like you could get the quarterback later, right? Or he's the last piece you put in place. And we had good examples, but I think today's game, the absolute guy in Trevor Lawrence had 4 picks today?
Yeah. Oh man.
The thing about getting a quarterback, and I think you draft a quarterback every draft at this point, because it's so hard to get a good one. It is so hard to get a good one, man.
It is. I'm never super pumped about taking a quarterback, because you don't know what you're going to get. You could get a Peyton Manning, you could get a Mark Sanchez, you could get anything in between. Like, there's a million things, and the college game does not always translate well. A guy can look super good in college, like he's super pro ready to go, and he shows up and just, the speed isn't there yet. He's not used to playing against NFL speed. He's not used to having to diagnose at the NFL level. And that's all stuff that I don't know how the NFL still can't get it right. How long has the NFL been drafting quarterbacks? The entire time.
Yeah.
And there's still no definitive answer as to the proper way to go about it. And it just freaks me out. So in that regard, I would always prefer, if you have the number 1 pick, to go to a quarterback, because the odds of getting a good quarterback later are smaller than if you go number 1, but it's still not a guarantee. But, it just so happens the Lions may have the number 1 overall pick in a year that there's no quarterbacks worthy of taking in that location.
There's going to be. There's going to be a superstar to come out of this one. It's like I love this one because it's the Bears, but they jump up and grab Mitchell Trubisky, leave Patrick Mahomes on the table. Nobody was really screaming and pounding the table for Mahomes, and look, he's a special kind of talent, right? We're seeing, Tony Fall talking about Mac Jones and Davis Mills are the best quarterbacks from last year's draft, right? It could be argued that that's the case. It's so difficult to find the guy, it seems like, and I mean, we saw Mac Jones working it at the Senior Bowl, right? I mean, it was unimpressive. It was absolutely unimpressive. It's where do you find them, and how do you find these guys?
Yeah. Sorry. Not to cut you off here, but speaking of the Senior Bowl, it's the same thing. Justin Herbert looks all world, and he looked like nothing at the Senior Bowl.
Yep.
Nothing.
Yep.
He looked awful, and I didn't think his college tape was particularly that awesome either.
And I'd feel like a lot better if the teams, like, if Justin Herbert had gone number 2, right? And they knew and they saw something that I didn't, because then I'd be okay. I can get better at this. I can learn to scout better and watch these guys better. But no, nobody knows how to figure these guys out. Nobody can pick these guys. And like you said about today, our team, we've got the players. It's a scheme where the players just play better because they're in our scheme and it works. Mac Jones could be a product of that, of Bill Belichick, right? I mean, they won a game. He threw 3 passes. So
yeah.
Let's see. Douglas wishes Jerry Jacobs a safe and speedy recovery. Me too, buddy. That entry looked horrible. We're supposed to have him on. We'll see what this does to the schedule. We'll see how this works out. But Floundericious, thank you for the super chat, my man. Goff throwing that pass in the 4th quarter to Brock Wright, who was the only one double covered. Woof. Yeah.
Woof indeed.
Yeah. And then the fourth down incomplete in the end zone, which was the guy played it more like a safety than a wide receiver. It was like he's trying to bat the ball down. Did you see that? That was horrible.
Yeah. I mean, it's rough watching Goff when he's having an off day because it's, what's about to happen because he stares guys down and the defense knows. I think his good days and bad days come down to, does the defense do what he thinks they're going to do? If they do, he looks all world. If they don't, he looks like today. Just no time for him to look around. His brain just doesn't process quite fast enough for stuff like that. And woof, just like Floundericious said, woof.
Woof. Woof, woof. Oh, here, we'll do it. Oh, I don't have it here. Never mind. Me trying to pronounce oh God. Oruarie. But I don't have the drop, so there we go. Let's see. Don H says, afraid might be too strong. Unengaged or disinterested, lost. He's just off. Everyone around him is selling out. He just seems like he's on a different page. Can't explain it. That was it today, right? And that's it about Jared Goff. There's a gap, right? And you want to say it seems like it's a gap between the ears, but the guy, I mean, you hear him talk, you see what he does around town, how wonderfully generous he is, as far as in the community. He seems like he's got all the pieces. It's just, I don't know what it is on the field when it's just afraid. I don't know what the word is. I don't know. He's just confused. I don't know. It's maddening though. I know that much. You want somebody you can count on every time. And it's okay to have a bad game or whatever, but we're seeing these too many. Let's be honest. Goff is the cautionary tale for reaching for a quarterback in the first round. Flounder, thank you for the super chat again, my friend. Yeah. That's it. And so's Trubisky. There's a million. There's golden with that. Cautionary tales. It's incredible. How do you find a good quarterback? How do you scout and identify and draft a good quarterback in the NFL? If you can figure that out, if you can put together that formula, you can make a whole lot of money because teams would pay you a prince's fortune to get them their guy reliably. I don't know what it is.
I honestly feel that the NFL, I don't know if we're still heading in this direction, but there was a time where I think teams were saying we need to worry about scheme first and we need to worry about quarterback second. And that's where you get these superstar coaches, or your hope is that you get a Cliff Kingsbury.
Don't worry, you got me.
You get a Sean McVay. You get a Kyle Shanahan, who like theoretically is offensive minded enough that they can overcome gaps in quarterbacks. They can, fill in the small things that your quarterback doesn't do well. And we've seen that to an extent. We saw Jared Goff make it to a Super Bowl with the Rams. We saw, now I'm blanking on his name, the 49ers quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, make it to a Super Bowl, and neither of those guys look like Super Bowl quarterbacks, and I think obviously not every team can do that. And I think it's going to be scary to be a Lions fan for a little while. I mean, how many teams have we seen that are otherworldly, but just don't have the quarterback play to get them over the hump? That's always the fear.
Yeah. And Trevor Lawrence, everybody knew he was number one. Everybody knew there was no trade you could put together to move them off of Trevor Lawrence, and no team would have been different about him, right? Is he a bad quarterback? Well, he's surrounded by a bad team. I mean, he's got Urban Meyer as a coach. I think is Urban still coaching? It's
so far.
You got to get the clock on that one. Sorry. Yeah, that's everybody was in on him. I mean, I know his situation isn't good, but I mean, Stafford's wasn't either, and everyone knew Matthew Stafford was a good quarterback. I guess people didn't want to admit it, right? The Packers fans or whoever else, the anti-Detroit people didn't want to admit that Stafford was good for a long time. But anybody with half a brain that looked at it, ingenuously, would say that Stafford was a good quarterback, and obviously Sean McVay thought he was. Trevor Lawrence, I don't know, man. I don't see that. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, this was one of the first games of his that I actually watched, and he just doesn't. He reminds me of Jared Goff a little right now, in that if his first option's not there, it freaks him out a little bit, and then he'll make a rash decision. And as a quarterback in the NFL, you can't do that. I saw a sack where he literally ran backwards 14 yards and just took like a 18-yard loss. Like, that's wild. That should never happen. You just fall down and take your 5-yard loss and move on.
Would you trade Goff for him?
Yes. Mostly due to salary.
Yeah. It's interesting. I see Tactile Puma. Scary for a Lions fan? That's like living in a haunted house for 16 years. Yeah, make it 60, buddy. Living in a haunted house.
The fans are part of the haunted house now. We're one of the attractions.
Yeah. We're the guy with the chainsaw. A lot of picket. Flounder. The picture of Sandman, it brings the best out of all of us. All right, got a text. My wife is visiting her mom, taking care of her with some stuff out there, and put the broadcast on the television there, and explained to her mom why you're in a bikini. Hi, Mom.
No, don't worry about it. I'm a millennial. This is normal.
It's Tuesday. Let's see. Biscuit could be lured here by Andy's picture. That's a good one. All right, 248-782-8384. I know you're not feeling it, guys. We typically don't do the night game, post game shows, but it was like we things came together to do this one, and then the Lions came out with COVID and everything else. Give us a call. Let us know what you think about the game. Let us know what you think about the rest of the season. We've got a couple of maybe a winnable game, although Atlanta looked a lot better than I thought they might today. The Seahawks at first were choking it down, and I think in the end they wound up winning out today, didn't they?
Yep.
But so those are probably the two games where we have a sneaky shot. We play next week. It's Arizona. Is that correct?
I believe it is.
Oof.
Yeah, that's going to be a real fun one, especially if we're still missing a bunch of dudes, or however it seems to work out. Obviously, with Jerry more than likely not coming back this year, it's going to be rough. It's going to be a rough watch, unless your team first overall pick, and then maybe you just skip these games because you know the outcome already, and you're looking forward to April. 4 months.
Oh, we get the Senior Bowl, though.
That's true.
That's fun. And then free agencies in March. Got that going for us, which is nice.
See how much addition by subtraction we can do. Get rid of some of those dead weight guys that are still hanging around.
Yeah. We should have a little bit of money. I think we're like 4th or 5th or something, aren't we? In the salary or the cap availability sweepstakes. God, I'm exhausted.
I think, we definitely will have some money to spend. I think it will come down to, we have some players that, they may want to get new contracts for, and we'll have to see how they allot that money. Mm-hmm. I think this, actually it will probably be one of the more telltale signs of Brad Holmes as a GM, because he's finally starting to have to make decisions that I think are hard. I think his first year, obviously, he had the draft, he had that sort of thing, but I don't know if he had to make any real hard decisions because his team was just already so, abysmal.
Yeah. All right.
That, easy peasy.
We got a caller here. Hey, caller, what's your name? How much have you had to drink?
This is Flounder. I've had a couple of really good beers in the last little while, and really enjoying the show today, guys.
Hey, Flounder.
Hey, Flounder.
I got to tell you, while we got you on finally, thank you for everything, brother. You've been really, really good. So helpful in St. Jude. You've given so much, man. It's really, really appreciated. Everything you've done, From pies to cash to getting the word out. You've been like a really, really good partner and friend in this. Appreciate it.
I'm trying, Coach. Put me in the game. No, man, I love you guys. I appreciate what you guys do. I'm just grateful to have the ability. And since I have the ability, I figure it's an obligation to get in there and try my best to help out for good causes.
Well, definitely. We are a good cause
to the charity case that is the Detroit Lions today.
Yeah.
Woof. Thankfully, I had to run to Costco and do a few other things, but I kept up with it. I was listening to Dan Miller, which is like one of my few joys. Even he was not feeling it. He was like, God, when can I get on the plane and go home?
Yeah,
Please pack the bags.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really something, man. With Dan, just on a side note, if as long as, and it sure looks like it will, but as long as the Lions are doing the Senior Bowl, we'll be having dinner with him in Memphis or in Mobile. Sorry, it's an M word. It's an M word.
Dinner in Memphis.
So we'll look for some of that. We're gonna have a good time down there in Mobile this year. We got a lot of good stuff and some ideas on how to get a lot of video and kind of let folks take part in the experience with us.
That's good, man. Hey, man, I would love it if we had something for every season. If we had some sort of a donation drive for the spring that would get people interested, hook people into the show for the draft and the run up to the draft. But I appreciate everything you guys do. I mean, I appreciate the Patreon Slack. Like, if any people want to get the smartest Lions chat on the internet, you're not going to find a better place than joining up at Patreon for the Detroit Lions podcast, because we have a great time in there even when we disagree, and it saves me a lot of alcohol and therapy appointments. So
yeah, and nowhere else is there Chris Dust like in the Slack, right?
That's right.
It started out with a crop dust, it became Chris Dust. The Slack knew hours beforehand that the COVID thing was going to pop, and they also knew days ahead of time that our guy Craig Reynolds was going to be in there and was going to be a little bit of a featured kind of piece of the offense. Lots of insider info.
I actually wondered if it was a case of John Dorsey running a canary trap to see if he could catch anyone blabbing about team business in the press. But it turns out you called it, and a few hours later, bam, there was the tweet.
Yeah.
My God, what a hell of a way to go into a game where you're already on the road, you're already behind the eight ball, with multiple starters all out with COVID-19 restrictions. Like, you have to do what you have to do, and I hope the league doesn't come down on the team at all. But, yeah, that's a hard way to start out the weekend.
Yeah, I think the Demaryius Thomas thing made it so that they could not stop this game. The whole Lions team could have been, they would have had to bring, the Michigan State college team into play for them. They would have played that game, period, I think, just in the face of that. So that, I think, in its own way helped us, at least from a reputation kind of thing. I'll tell you one thing that I know that nobody's talked about, that you only know when you're in the inside. They were not allowed to leave the hotel. They were all stuck in their rooms. And 10:30 last night is when they all got those COVID tests that blew everybody else out today that we heard about.
Oh God, I'll bet.
Yeah, they've been playing it real tight. The phrase I heard used was "all hell is breaking loose," and this was before anyone was announced with COVID. So it was a massive, crazy show in there.
Well, I mean, the COVID tests they're lagging indicators. You're looking backwards. Like, you find out that someone's been exposed, you're already infecting 2 or 3 other people.
Potentially, yeah.
It's like, as soon as you get even a sniff that it's happening, you got to shut the whole place down, which plays merry hell with an NFL team and all the work they have to do to get ready, because that grind is so fast. They get 1 day a week when they can, not be 150% go.
Yep.
It's just, I don't know how you deal with that without having a massive disruption the next weekend.
Well, and
you're trying to avoid having what happened with the Pittsburgh Steelers, where we finished the game, they had a couple of guys positive, and now you got to be super paranoid that your team's going to get blown away by a COVID infection because 2 idiots were on the field positive.
Well, like you said, you get a sniff of it. It is a respiratory disease, Flounder, just so you know. So you get a sniff of it, you're probably messed Sorry, I couldn't help it. Don H had to mention this. Sandman's game time posts are priceless. Absolutely, they are as unique as anything you'll ever see on Twitter. If you don't like Twitter, and trust me, Twitter builds their rooms, but you don't know you're in a room to elicit the most controversy, because controversy is engagement, and then feeds ads. But go join Twitter and follow Sandman only and us, but follow Sandman only and read his stuff during the games. It is the best stuff. Sometimes it's hilarious. Sometimes you're screaming right along beside him. But Sandman's Twitter is lit during the game.
I let it all hang out. I just
like now.
If you ever have watched a game with me, I'm animated. I watch the game. I like to think I know football, so I'm screaming and yelling about dumb play calls and weird alignments. And, I like sometimes I just put it into Twitter forum when I'm by myself.
I'm just thinking of what an asshole uncle kind of role I played when we were at the game, Sam. Man, I was like, hit you in the shoulder.
I got punched in the shoulder maybe 40 times.
I forgot. Sorry, Flounder. Go ahead.
Hey, one last comment, and then I'll let you guys go. I'll just say, Andy, you need to update your profile picture on Twitter with your current YouTube Skype call photograph. Just crop it properly so that your face is not shown. You'll get 1 million extra followers in like 5 minutes.
The dual globe
and I think
logo.
People will be better for it, even though they don't get what they think they're going for.
All right, man. It's happening right now. I'm taking care of it for you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Flounder. Thanks for everything, man. Thanks for calling.
Love you guys.
Love you too, brother. Bye-bye.
Later.
Yep.
All right. That was it. Flounder joined us. Pretty awesome. Hey, you didn't hear that phone ringing, did you? You just heard it when it came in?
No, I did not hear it ringing.
All right. I've got everything queued up finally right now on the new setup. So I can hear it all in the background, but nobody else can until I push the button in. All right. 248-782-8384. 248-782-8384. That'll get you on the show. Normally it's a therapy session, but I got to tell you, I'm not feeling like there's therapy. I'm it's not even numbness though. Sam, I think that win last week just kind of took the pressure off the season at this point. It's like, hey, you know what? They're going to do what they do. If they pull a win out, great. Now that I'm not sitting here, thirsting for a win, it's like, okay, whatever happens, it's going to play out. We knew they weren't going to be a good team. All that stuff kind of just lands how it was supposed to earlier in the year.
We brought it up a little bit earlier, but had we not have won last week, this week would have been disastrous. Yeah. And I feel the same way that you do. I had very little expectations because of the illnesses, because of the COVID thing, but this is still not a good football team. Even if we came in healthy, I'm still not sure that we win this game. I think it's much more competitive. I think, all that stuff is true, but you're right. Like the weight was lifted, and I don't know if we really realized how big of a weight it was until it was gone. And then you can kind of say, now nobody, at least I'm not seeing it as often. Nobody's talking about firing Dan Campbell. We're talking about the draft. What are we going to do to build this team more next year?
Yep.
It's not oh God, we're going to go 16-1. And then how do you keep the coach? Yep. I think that talk's gone.
I work with people in Europe, in New York, in New Jersey, mostly. And all week they looked at me like I just had that post-coital glow. I'm telling you, I was just after that victory. It just made everything bad go away. It made me feel so much better, and it didn't leave. I'm telling you, Andy, that was the best Lions game I've been to, and it was about all the emotion of the season wrapped up and all the pressure, and like, look. Everybody loves Dan Campbell, but if they didn't deliver, right, you're going to see the guy you love. You went from a guy you hate, who got you 3 wins, though, right, and who everyone, I mean, Marvin Jones survived him, but it doesn't make it better than Meyer. But it just everybody just liked him. The players, interesting. I've got some info about the coaches, and they didn't hate him. I can talk about that in a little bit, but you get this situation, where it all just kind of went away, and now it's like, okay, The team wasn't. We knew they weren't going to be great this year. We're living it now. You're not going to have the 0 season. You got to tie. You got to win. Fine. We can kind of move on and be more analytical and less emotional about it. I just appreciate the ability to be able to do that now, and it feels so good that this loss just doesn't sting like all the ones before it this year.
Yeah, I think we're at the point now where we can just start looking forward. Like, we know what this team is currently, but I think there's enough real excuses as to why this team is not good this year that are outside of coach control and things like that, that we can kind of look past some of that. Campbell has not been perfect. He's made a bunch of mistakes. There's arguments to be made that he cost us a few games. Mm-hmm. That being said, I don't think he's even remotely towards the top of the issues that we're having right now. And you're right. It just allows us to look forward and be excited about what's next.
Yeah. I mean, and that happens, especially, look, Dan Campbell, I think he gets a lot of passes this year because he's a rookie coach. He's learning just as much as a lot of these guys are learning, right? I don't know how much experience we really have at coaching positions. I think there's a lot of Hank Fraley, he's been doing this for a bit. He knows what he's doing. But a lot of these guys are new coaches at the level that they're coaching, right? Interestingly, one of the guys with the most experience, Aylin, is no longer in charge of that thing. But it's interesting how that plays. It's a bunch of guys who are learning this year. We knew they would be learning, and now we're going to see how this plays out. What do they do? How do they self-scout? How do they improve going into next year? I don't expect Dan Campbell to lose us multiples. If he loses a game next year, that's progress, right? I won't like it. But it's progress, and that's all you want to see is just that continued progress in the right direction. And if we can see that, eventually you make it to the top.
Speaking of Anthony Lynn, I saw a report earlier today that Dan Campbell said that Anthony Lynn is responsible for a lot of the run game success we've been having. So I don't think he's completely out. But that's to be seen. I guess we'll see what happens at the end of the year. You already mentioned self-scouting. Yeah. I think that's probably the strongest thing that I've seen out of this staff so far. That's everybody. That's the GM. That's the head coach. That's everybody. Is that I think that they're willing to admit when things aren't working and try to rectify them. Mm-hmm. Dan Campbell taking over play calling. It's not working. We're going to try it. Did it work out initially? No. Is it working a little bit better now? Yes. Jamie Collins. Not playing hard. Get the heck out of here. We don't need you here. I think the rest of this roster is not at the point where we can do that with other guys. We're already thin. But that being said, I think this offseason will be incredibly telling. We're going to see what they really thought about this year and how they can improve it, and what they thought can be improved and how they plan on improving it.
Yep.
It'll be very telling, especially with what and where they draft a quarterback, if they draft one.
I'll tell you a little more, Chris Dust.
Oh boy.
And I didn't know this, but it's different from team to team. Some teams are very, very vocal on the mic, ahead of a play, and some is just the play caller and that's it. And the Lions are very much, multiple, give me a pass play, give me a run play, and then, Dan will make a decision, right? We'll see how that goes. I can't go more there. We'll see. But I'm interested that they are so collaborative on the headset, and that they are pulling up multiple plays and having conversations about that, because I was pretty much under the assumption that it was straight, make the call, that's it, right? And that's the information. That's all the time you have to get information out there. But they're on the mic and they're sharing information, and that's a big. I think that's interesting, because that collaboration and that trust amongst each other, and that kind of community brain, rather than relying on just one. I like that idea, and we'll see how that holds up for the team. Another thing I alluded to a few minutes ago, is the Matt Patricia thing. And you remember Senior Bowl? He was a really nice guy when we met him. I know you did not want to meet him. You guys, you should have seen Andy. I was like, I'm here. I'm going to see what's going on. Andy was like, no. He was like Quandre Diggs and Matt Patricia. That's the kind of magnetism between those two. He was like, he was way over on the other side.
Hey, I've got, I don't have a huge online presence, but I've got a big enough one where I'm bad talking Matt Patricia. All of a sudden somebody busts out a photo of me smiling next to him, that's not good. That's not good.
No, you are honest and consistent. I give you that 100%. But I wanted to check this guy out, and he was magnanimous. He was kind. He was, generous. He was for lack of, I think he was a good guy. And I was like, that's so weird, because everything I see and hear points to he's not such a good guy, right? So I heard, the other part of this dust. Bob Quinn, great guy, real good family, nice people, the whole thing, caring, made personal phone calls at points to players and coaches and stuff, and reached out to people, really like a genuinely, kind-hearted soul. Very interesting, because I wouldn't have expected that, right?
Yep.
Matt Patricia too. The coaches liked him. The thing is, though, and this is like we got to this, but we didn't kind of see the whole picture. He wasn't himself. It was that inauthenticity with the players, and that's what really just caused that gap, because who he became that wasn't him was a dick. and they didn't like it at all, right? And that did not go well. It's just not a modern management style, modern coaching style, anything like that. So very, very interesting to me. He's the guy we thought he was until he's trying to be somebody else, and that's what really cost this team so much, and cost, because I think that attitude is what put us in this space with this dearth of talent. It wasn't Bob Quinn, who had his own problems with drafting or whatever, but we weren't developing players, right? And I think part of that was because of the style of the coach, and not gelling with the people he wanted to develop, and creating a rift or a buffer to where they didn't maybe take him so seriously. And it stinks that the guy's kind of like persona, his character that he played, is what put us in this situation. And from everything I've been hearing, that's what did it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like there's a lot of that stuff where you mentioned Quandre Diggs already, but if Matt Patricia isn't the Matt Patricia that was here, maybe Quandre Diggs is still around. Maybe Darius Slay is still around. And this team is not in the horrible, horrible position that we're currently sitting in.
And maybe we could sing a little bit like
because the Lions won a game
more often. More often. I love that one. I really do.
It's a great drop.
I just play it over and over while I'm driving in the car. I don't even have to go anywhere. I just get in the car and play it over and over so you can hear it. That's from GMAC Cash, by the way, on Twitter. He's got some good stuff. Trying to get him in the DMs to do some stuff together, but really, really cool cat, that GMAC Cash. He's got some fun little raps going on. Let's see. Flounder, Patricia, again, thank you for the super chat, Flounder. The sparkly effects. Patricia looked so ashamed and sad last year when he knew he was fired. That was authentic, but the rest of the time he was cosplaying Belichick. Yeah, he was cosplaying something like Belichick, though. It wasn't even Belichick. I know they say he's not fun to work for either, but I've never seen anyone quit on him, even in his early years when the team was building up to, where it hadn't had success yet. I didn't see the people quitting on him like they did on Patricia. Oh, gosh, Patricia. And Darrell Bevel looking like he's going to get a chance to coach again this year. Can we finally just put Urban Meyer to bed and never see him coach another team ever again?
It's wild. I honestly, you have to feel so bad for Jaguars fans. Like they're experiencing similar things that the Lions experienced. Like 2014, it was like, holy crap, look at this defense. Are the Lions for real now? The Jaguars had that one defense a couple years ago that just was fantastic, and it's all crumbling around them again. I don't know. I don't know what you do with this whole Urban Meyer situation. They signed him to a big contract. I think he's hard to get rid of in that respect, that you're going to be paying my man so much money to not coach your team. You're only 1 year in, flipping it over on a new quarterback. Year one stinks, but he's been a tire fire, a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get
a dumpster full of tires fires.
Just unbelievable. It's even Patricia wasn't this bad.
No. And I mean, is he going to take it'll be the third time that it's for health reasons he's not going to be there anymore, right?
Yep.
It's such a BS excuse for health reasons. Guy's a nut. I have no idea how he gets hired. I have no idea. And can you imagine? I mean, think about that. He was never in the conversation for the Lions coaching job last year, but he was Dan Campbell, right? It was all the Robert Saleh. Remember the bakery?
Yep. Oh, the bakery. How can I forget the bakery?
Yeah, those guys are funny. They did that. The just all that stuff, right? Dan Campbell was never the guy. Urban Meyer wasn't either. So by the same token, maybe we're just as likely to have gotten Urban Meyer. I can't imagine. I think if we'd had Urban Meyer as a head coach by this and what had gone on there had gone on here, I might be shutting down the show. I might be just like, I'm done. This is
yeah. Like, how do you can't?
There's nowhere to even look up in Jacksonville. The only thing you're looking for is to fire your coach, hope he doesn't destroy your quarterback, get somebody decent in there. But who's going to come? You hired Urban Meyer, right? I mean, who's going to come there after they fire Urban Meyer in year one?
I think that's the real problem, is that not only so Khan will have to decide how much money am I willing to dump to fix this? Because now you're paying Urban Meyer. You're probably going to have to overpay to get the next guy in. You're probably going to have to put a big old contract, like a Dan Campbell 6-year type of thing. That guy doesn't work out. You could be potentially paying 3 head coaches at the same time. And I don't care how rich you are. Nobody's cool with throwing away that kind of money.
Oh God, no.
That's what if I was a Jacksonville fan, that's what would scare me the most.
I see you as a good owner, Sam, man. I think you'd make a great NFL owner.
I would fire people so fast.
Would you do it with like a paintball gun? Because that would be really good.
Yeah, I'd hire Patricia after the second preseason game. I'm like, nah, this isn't going to work out.
I want a GoPro mounted on the barrel of that gun and on your forehead because I want to see that go. It's not like you're going to miss, right?
No, yeah. Banned 7-layer dip at the practice facility.
Oh, boy.
Just lots of...
You get a battle on that one. Hey, you know what season it is? Besides the NFL season, it's gift-giving season, Sam, man.
Ooh.
And the best place to go get your gifts for anybody, get gifts for yourself first. Let's take care of ourselves first. Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Get yourself something decadent, something nice. Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Take that little URL. That's how you go to Amazon. And if you go that way, put a little change in our pocket based on your purchase. Take it out of Bezos' pocket. It doesn't cost you anymore. They take it out of his filthy clutches and send it over our way. A great way to support your podcast by doing something you were going to do anyway. Head on over to Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com for all your gift-giving needs. All right, let's see what else. We can do CBD, but we'll talk about CBD later because I don't even feel like CBD is a big need this week after this loss, Andy. I'm already chill. Yeah, I'm complete. That's it. I was like, I couldn't have the word. It's not numb because I still feel it, but it's chill. It's like, okay, that's cool. Whatever.
I had zero expectations and I wasn't let down. I had zero expectations earlier in the year and I somehow was still let down. I think I'm at the point where I'm not let down anymore.
Yeah, no, that's it. I kept saying there's zero expectations, but the losses mounted my inside, man. Inside, it was stress. It was stress. So at least the team gave us this good stuff to have a nice holiday. I'm hoping Jerry's okay. I can't get that out of my head.
Yep.
He's a starter next year. He fixed so much. God dang it. And now, I mean, it's December. God, recovering by August of next year. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be tough. I think if it is ACL and MCL, that stuff's getting faster and faster and faster. I think the real scary part about having Jerry injured like this is how do you address that position next year? Because he's played well enough that I feel comfortable with him. Mm-hmm. But now he just tore his ACL, potentially. We'll find out. But if that's what he did, that's one of those injuries that people come back and are fine, and some people don't. They just are a little bit slower than they used to be. And now that affects a cornerback. That's one of the positions where you need really fast change of direction.
Yeah.
And we have the same problem with Okudah. Technically he might be healthy to come back, but what player are we getting? He didn't look good when he was fully healthy.
And his was an Achilles. That's
even worse.
Oof. Where Jerry, I look at him and I look at his body. I look at his, how his body's made up. And I feel like he's the kind of guy that can come back from that a lot more than Jeff Okudah could from an ACL or an Achilles. God. I just think Jerry's more of a tank. I don't know how else to put it. He's just so thick, so strong, so ripped. I feel like he's and on the rehab side of it, there is nothing that's going to get in his way. I mean, if you look at our St. Jude auction.detroitlionspodcast.com, there's a Jerry Jacobs signed ball. It's on it. It says never give up. He signed it with never give up. That's his. If you heard our interviews with him earlier, that's his mantra. That's how he got from losing his mom at 11 years old and being raised basically by his brothers and sisters, and to junior college, to Arkansas State, to Arkansas, and then to the NFL, and then as a UDFA, and now basically a starting corner. Guy does not give up at all, and I just feel like he's got it in his soul that this is just another thing. In the words of the famous philosopher DMX, it's one more road to cross. One more road to cross, my man. At least I didn't quote Homer, donuts and beer. All right. Robert M., thank you for the super chat or super sticker. I can't tell the difference between what they are. He didn't have any words with it, just the donation. Really, really appreciate that, Robert. Very kind of you. Thank you for supporting the show. Oh yeah, this is Jerry singing about the holiday season.
It's the holiday season and my balls need squeezing.
So head on over to auction.detroitlionspodcast.com and bid on the Jerry Jacobs ball or jersey, or DeAndre Swift jersey, or ball, or Jamal Williams, or TJ Hawkinson, or Penei Sewell. I don't know why I put the extra emphasis on that one, but there's all kinds of great stuff there. There really is. It's fantastic. There's a awesome house out in Denver that you can rent for a week, which is amazing. Yep, right there in ski territory. I think it's like 10 minutes from the lifts, and it's $3,000 value, 7 nights, and it's like $700 right now. Heck of a deal. And then there's dinner with Andy. I mean, look at that, to get a date with Andy. Andy, Riz, and I going down to Prime Proper downtown. Some of the best steak you will ever have. Oh my God, that tomahawk, Andy. I still have it pictured right there in my head. Just a gorgeous piece of meat. And the steak wasn't so bad either. Couldn't help it, Oh, goodness gracious. Yes, 10 minutes from Winter Park. Thank you, Flounder. Good stuff there. Head on over to auction.detroitlionspodcast.com. Get yourself some of that good stuff. And it's ending in just 3 days. So you have time to get your bids in, and it'll be shipped, and it should be in your paws prior to any holidays. So you can wrap it, get under the tree, or you can just hold on to it if you're getting yourself something. So there you go. All right. Andy, final thoughts on the Lions as we close out against the Denver Broncos and we start looking to the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals at home should be an easy win, right? Yeah, super easy. No stress. You'll excuse me if I don't fly in for this one, right?
I think we'll have to. Everyone's going to be watching to see how healthy can the Lions get in 1 week's time. Yeah. I think even full health, the Cardinals are a tough ask of any team. We've always played the Cardinals tough, so I guess we'll see how that goes. But right now, I think I'm focused on, is Jerry Jacobs going to be okay? How does next year look?
Yeah.
I think I'm full on board that the Lions are going to have the number 1 overall pick, which is fantastic going into next year. And that will be our stepping stone to get everything moving. I think this year, I don't want to say it's a lost cause, but I think we're far enough along. We've seen enough. It's draft season.
Yeah, it is. The most ideal situation, I think, is if they say, yeah, Jerry's nothing's torn, just sprained or whatever, and they just shut him down for the year. He's got the snaps he needs. Let's put him on the shelf. Kind of like Swift, I feel the same way. Put him on the shelf. Let him be, and we'll see you next year. We'll bring you out healthy and 100% and ready to go when we get some of these other pieces in place. I mean, this year is done deal. It's probably like even TJ, right? I'm like, maybe just put him on the shelf and let him heal up and feel good and stay healthy.
Yep, get some extra time off. Come into next year feeling real strong.
Yeah, Craig Reynolds, let him develop. Jamar Jefferson, the running back. I mean, you can sit Swift to be okay. It won't hurt.
Honestly, there wasn't even that big of a drop off in the running game, other than the extra fumbles. And I'll be honest too about the fumbles. Both of those were hard fumbles. We're not talking about a guy that was loose with the football or anything like that. He took full-blown shoulders into the football. That's a fumble that happens. It just so happened to happen twice to him in one game. That looks real bad on the stat sheet.
This is what I like about Andy. He's tough but fair.
Stern but fair. That was my nickname in high school.
Stern but fair.
Stern but fair.
Yep. Arizona next week, then the Falcons and Seahawks. I feel like I could pull one of those games. I really do. We'll see what the end game is and how that plays out. But if we wind up with 2 wins, we'll be fine. Nick, either Houston or the Jags are going to win next week as well, and that's very possible. Houston started out looking pretty tough against the Seahawks today, so we'll see how that goes. But for this Lions team, I think it's time to twilight the season. We got the win, right? We got the minimum expectations met, and I don't think that we need to put anybody in a place where they're going to get hurt any further. These guys with COVID, even, right? Is it good for their lungs to get back on? I don't know. I don't know. I just want to be extra cautious with all of them at this point. Great time to take in and really just fully embrace put the whole practice squad in, call them all up, give them some time. Let's see preseason game 5, 6, 7, and 8 for the last 4 games of the season. Like I said, be 9, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 5 through 8. Let's just see those. Let's just see those guys. Let's get an absolute bead on all the talent from top to bottom of this roster, where the diamonds are, where the rough is, and then make the changes in the offseason and start working that. I feel like that's a great way to approach it. I mean, one of the things we saw Bob Quinn do is continuously churn the bottom part of the roster, but we never really knew if they were the bottom of the roster, did we?
Nope.
And a lot of those guys went on to play somewhere else. Who's that Tunyon tight end guy who's making money over in Green Bay? And
I mean, there's a lot of players that we turned away and are doing good things elsewhere.
Drafted Huntley and then sent him off.
Logan Thomas before he got hurt.
Yeah.
Although he was a quarterback here, so
but
we've already turned a safety into a running back.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Let's see what we got. Let's put him out there. Let's get him some game time.
Let's put Jared Goff in at tight end and see what happens.
Yeah. The more guys you got on injured reserve, the more guys you can add to the practice squad, the more guys you can bring up. Let's run them all through. Let's get them all some reps and keep the guys we need. I mean, our 90-man roster after this season could be all guys who actually played live fire snaps of NFL football where we've got an absolute bead on the kind of players they are. How ideal would that be? Seriously, if you're a coach and a GM to really know what your guys can do against NFL talent, that's not bad information to have.
Nope.
All right. Yeah, let's see. Mike, I hope we might get a show with Jerry showing how he's going through rehab. Jerry's is one of the greatest guys. And, well, he was going to come on anyway. We got to see what this does to having him on, but he will be on. We'll continue to talk to him and revisit him as the season and the off season go on. He's our guy, man. He's everything we thought he was and more. It's really just such an impressive thing. He's such an impressive young guy. We'll get him on, and he's a great human being. You know, don't forget to tweet at him about the Alice Jacobs Foundation. They got something good going on there. That's straight out of his pocket. I want him to make it a little bigger so we can kind of pour some money into the Jerry Jacobs Foundation and or the Alice Jacobs Foundation and get some good stuff happening. That's kind of stuff we love to do. So there you go. And we got Flounder backing us. All right, so let's see. Last couple days, stjude.org/DLP, Christmas for the Kids. Get your donations in there direct. Amazon.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Get all your gifts for yourself and others there. You need to chill out. You got some vacation time coming out and you want to get a little buzz, go to cbd.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. You can get the active CBD if Delta 8's not cool in your area. I mean, it is cool, but your government doesn't think so. Active CBD gives you the same kind of high. And you get all the pain, anxiety, and insomnia benefits as well. And don't forget Patreon, where the Chris Dust and all the great stuff happens. Patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. Get in there. Little as $1 a month gets you access to the Slack with all the Chris Dust. Follow us on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast, DET Lions Podcast, and at Sandman7773, Sandman7773. And you'll see the best tweets ever during a game. Be sure to give us a call and Skype on Detroit Lions Podcast, all one word, Detroit Lions Podcast, or on the Lions line at 929-33-LIONS. It's 929-335-4667. And be sure to go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com, subscribe to the podcast so we can pop off in your ears automatically. Thank you for tuning in. You like that? You like that?
Oh, I love it.
I'm looking at pictures. There's a couple places I pop off.
Well, now you can look at it on Twitter anytime you want.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, I can circumnavigate the globes. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to see you next time on the Detroit Lions Podcast. Just call me Magellan. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs. No problems, baby, because we're the Detroit Lions and Reddit Connection.